still choose you.
Colourful Radio.
So I'm now joined by the fabulous Rasheed Ogunlaru. Morning.
Hey, that's a lovely introduction. How are you doing?
I'm really good, actually.
Fantastic.
Really good. And as you know, I always ask you, before we begin into our discussion, what or who do you appreciate?
Today, it's voice, because I used to be a singer, right? I used to be a singer before I was a life coach, and I'm a speaker, so I use my voice all the time. And I've got an event this week, and I've been asked to sing it, and I don't normally sing. So today I was up and I was practicing. I'm singing "Happy Christmas, War Is Over," John Lennon and Yoko Ono, which is very, very appropriate, isn't it?
Yes.
The era that we're in, and being grateful, but also realizing, seeing the bigger picture. So it's definitely voice, because I'm going to have to be in good voice later on in the week. But I'm really looking forward to that.
I was about to say, when was the last time you sang in public?
Probably it was last year at the same event. But it's a great feeling, but it's also a really good discipline, because you've got to get yourself into singing. Actually requires being in really good shape in order to sing really, really well. So I'm really looking forward to it, actually.
Brilliant. Okay, so we're going to go to Michael Jackson, Human Nature. And when we come back, we'll start the discussion, which is self-awareness and giving.
Colourful Radio.
So that was Human Nature by Michael Jackson. And today the discussion is on self-awareness and giving. And Rasheed, in the top of the hour, I mentioned that Money Advice Service did a survey where 1.4 million are expected to buy or to take payday loans just for Christmas. Is that human nature, or do we need to sort of realign how we think about giving?
That's definitely conditioning. That's definitely conditioning. So we do get into the condition of, we kind of roll with it, don't we? You know, we're taught to, you grow up and you get used to giving gifts, sharing gifts and all of that kind of stuff, and having stuff. But I think one of the first things about this theme today about giving is that there's a word that we've got to bring back into the fore, which is thanks. Yeah. Because really most of the time you're going to be giving a lot of the time as a thanks, as a gratitude, as a sharing and so on. So I think when you bring back in the word thanks, it's really useful, because I think the starting point should be gratitude, being grateful for being alive, being grateful for the people who are in your life and so on. And then that might, sometimes if you show that there's gratitude, that you may not need to give anything apart from your love and your gratitude as a starting point. Otherwise what's going to happen is that you're just going to give stuff and it's going to be meaningless, because a young child, for example, is going to very, very quickly pick up soon if you've been giving stuff but you've not been giving your love. So one of the dangers that can happen in this type of time of year is that you just shower lots of stuff on people, gifts and so on, but actually you're not spending your time, you're not necessarily spending your love on them. And so I think my first tip here, when you link it to that huge survey, is, and we tend to be conditioned to spend a lot of money, we've got, be it on gifts or on events or the house or the decorations. But I think the first thing is to remember that, what is really this thing about? It's about relationships, about connectivity. It's about, if you're religious, it's about the meaning of Christmas. It's a religious time and so on. And that's about connection. It's about appreciation. It's not necessarily about giving huge things. So I think that's really, really important. And so therefore, what's really important here, I'd say, is that practically set a budget that you can afford and stick to it is the first thing, because there's no point getting in debt for months to come just for the sake of 1 year. You've got to remember, what is the purpose of this? It's about giving, it's about connectivity, it's about love. It's not just about getting stuff, because also quite a lot of the time you can get lots of stuff and it can be destroyed by the end of the day, and so on. It's about the connection.
You mentioned as well that, some people give a lot of gifts to maybe compensate for the lack of time they may have had with their children. Do you think that's maybe part of it? It's almost like, so really people are buying in the ways they're buying to sort of succumb to their own guilt.
Sometimes. I think there's two things. I think there's the thing that you said about, which is that we get caught up in this thing about giving. We just had that week before where they said that it was Black Friday, everyone goes out and they buy stuff, which is a construct, isn't it? Giving particular gifts, it's a construct that we're taught to do. We live in a material kind of a world. It's great on many levels, but you've got to be mindful. Also, bear in mind that people most of the time really appreciate the fact that you've been with them. I mean, if let's take that thing head on about money. You could perhaps spend a day with somebody. You could make things with somebody. There's all sorts of things that you can do that don't necessarily involve a lot of thinking. And also, if you've got young kids, you become accustomed to that. And so therefore, after a while, getting things becomes very meaningless to you, and you just expect stuff, and you're going to really struggle when times get hard, as they will sometimes.
And kids may not understand that. So if you've always given like that and you've met the demands of your children and you are struggling, the pressure to actually go out and maybe get a payday loan, to use a credit in order to give them what they want, may be part of the problem. I mentioned earlier that there's this mum in Utah. She's got 3 children, and she said that her children were becoming or feeling like presents were an entitlement. So she just said, look, you're not having presents this year. You're actually going to make stuff, because she really wanted them to understand that Christmas is just not about the receiving or the giving, and giving can be done in a different kind of way. Another family who I put on my timeline, they, again, rather than sort of buying all the Christmas presents, they decided to make a family video together where they're just enjoying themselves, and they've sent that out to their family, and it's now going viral on the internet. It's brilliant. It's like a hip hop Merry Christmas to everyone. It's so cool. So
powerful. I think that is just so powerful. I think there's so many ways that you can make, sometimes less is more. Let's say money is particularly tight. Set a budget that you can stick to. Buy things just for kids. Buy just one gift. Maybe instead of buying everybody else a gift, have a gift amnesty and buy yourself a gift. It might well be that you need to appreciate yourself. There's lots of different ways you can do it. I think also communication is really key here when we talk about this thing about giving, because sometimes lots of people might be in the same boat where it's been tough, or it's been a tough few years, and you saying, actually, you know what, money's tight, blah, 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 could we just do this, or let's just have a day where we just buy one gift for the young kids and so on. You might give more. That you can focus far more on the young kids having fun. You then as adults can really connect far more deeply and so on. And there's far more of an appreciation. So it's sometimes an opportunity, these things are an opportunity for us to stop and think about, hang on a minute, what's this really about? And my invitation would be, spending time is more important than spending money. Letting people know that they're appreciated. Giving them thanks, giving them praise, giving them feedback is far more important than giving them something.
Interesting. And that ties into the question. So the question today is, do you feel pressurized to spend a lot of money on Christmas gifts? Let us know at Colourful Radio. You can call 0203 475 6878, or you can email me via the Colourful Radio website. Please get thinking. And also, as we're talking about giving, which Rasheed also says ties into giving thanks, we're still asking you, what or who do you appreciate today? That is all connected, okay? It's all connected. So if you don't have the answer right now, just have a little think and then tweet at any time to let us know, all right? The song is very apt, which is Be Thankful for What You Got by William Vaughan.
Diamond in the back, sun rooftop, digging the scene with a gangster lean.
Colourful Radio.
So that was William Vaughan with Be Thankful What You Got. And as that track was playing, Rasheed said something really, really magical, I think. He said, give your gift as a gift. It doesn't have to cost. It can be priceless. Rasheed, do you want to extend on that?
Yeah. So the thought here is that, and we've been talking about how expensive it can be and how you can get into debt and so on, and thinking about alternative ways to give. And I'm saying that why not give your gift? So let's say that you make things. I've got a friend, and he's just an amazing kind of artist. He always used to wrap things himself. He used to take newspapers and paint over them. It looked better than the most amazing gift wrap paper ever. He's just as an amazing artist. In fact, he's now kind of making labels for a particular business, handwritten. He's just got a gift for that. Maybe you've got a gift for something else. Maybe you do music. Maybe your gift, you run an office and you could gift for somebody else, giving some work experience somewhere. Maybe you bake cakes or you make jewelry. How cool is it that you would give your gift? And it makes me think, we were talking about that, it makes me think of that song, that Christmas song, The Little Drummer Boy. So you've had this procession of all of these, the great and mighty kings, gold, frankincense and myrrh. Fine if you can give that. But then the little John boy, I'm a poor boy too. I have no gift to bring, and so he plays. He said, "Can I play for you on my drum?" And he just plays. That's enough. And sometimes what you give is greater than anything else. Just being you, showing up, is the best gift that you can possibly bring. But it's the thing that we forget. So that whatever material gift you give somebody, I think it's secondary to your own magical gift. Giving that gift. So I think that I'd say, what's that gift that you could bring? Maybe you're great with kids and you know somebody who would really welcome a day off because they're are so busy caring for people, and you take those kids out for a day. There's so many ways when you start being creative about it. The other thing about this giving thing is that, and it ties in with that song, I'm thankful for what you got. I grew up in a house where we didn't have that much.
Yeah.
We used to have passed down things. I was the third of 3 boys, so I got passed down stuff. And we got a few things at Christmas, but because it wasn't that much, I appreciated every gift even more, far more, because I wasn't so overwhelmed with stuff. I got 3 or 4 gifts, as opposed to people might get 10, 12, 15 gifts. So I appreciated what I had, and I also appreciated what I didn't have as well. So don't think that having lots and lots of stuff is the answer. Sometimes only having a few things is really, really powerful. And those people are religious. It's kind of apt that the person whose life you're appreciating was born in a stable, not in a palace.
Right. God, how, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. I think I think you've definitely said something really, really important here. Using your gift to give. I absolutely love it. And, it's a double thing here. So one, we're talking about giving in relation to Christmas, but we're also doing what this show is all about, which is what Self Central is about, which is helping you to tap back into you, to identify who you are, what you can do, and your potential. And I think this is just a really creative way to do for Christmas, especially if money is tight. Going out and getting a payday loan doesn't really solve it. It may solve the problem right now, but after that one day has gone, then your worry is going to set in.
And it might create problems. I've seen situations where good intention, parents who may not have had that much, or seen other people not have that much, they shower all these gifts on these kids, and they're not there and they're not present. And then later on, not only do they have a child, unfortunately, who's been spoiled by all those things, but the relationship isn't there because the person looks back and thinks, you gave me all these things, but you weren't there for me when I was growing up. And you only have one chance with a child when they're growing up. So the love is the most, of all things, I have a saying that love is the only thing that's going to serve you in every single situation. Let it be your medication, let it be your destination, let it be your vocation. Love is all you need to do.
Rasheed, I really need to write these things down. Honestly, time now is 11:36. So if you just missed that gem, you can go back to the Colourful Radio podcast, go to 11:36, and you can hear it again. Rasheed, if you remember what you just said, because I know sometimes things flow, but if you remember what you just said, please can you repeat it?
Love is the only thing that will serve you in every situation. Every situation. And I think it should be your vocation, it should be your destination, it's the medication, and it is the liberation. That's all of those things.
That's a song.
Yeah.
That's go for like a reggae beat. Thank you for saying that again.
You're welcome.
There's just so much. Honestly, I really think it's important to have these conversations.
And it's powerful. When people show up, let's say on Christmas Day or what have you, and people have made stuff, that often the thing that people love most is, let's say, that Christmas dinner that somebody's made with love.
Yes.
That thing that somebody, if you make something for somebody, I sometimes make people birthday cards and so on, make it. It's going to far excel anything else because you've taken that time to make them, to knit them this, to do this, to create that, to make this, whatever it is. And often we've got so many different gifts. I meet so many people in my work, Lisa, as a life coach, as a business coach, where people say that they do one thing and they tell me what the other thing that they're really good at. I was chatting to somebody the other day. They work in one particular area, and then they said that they'd love to run events and so on. Why not put an event for your friends if that's the thing that you could do? I mean, it's amazing when you start using your gifts, because that also might be really liberating for you, and you're showing people all those gifts and those talents that you have. It just requires just that little bit of creativity, but it's going to save you a lot of money, and it's going to give you so much, and it's going to bring so much joy, and it's going to make it a Christmas that everybody's going to remember forever. And the opposite is that you just spend lots of money on stuff, and half the time you don't even know what to buy somebody, but it does require that communication of just saying, look, this is where I am. And it might be that conversation about the appreciating each other where people say, listen, let's just spend no more than £10 for each other. Listen, let's not worry about that this year. You might even have a better Christmas. You might even be better financially off from that. So I really do encourage people, if you are in this situation, set a gifts amnesty, make something, have that conversation with people. And you might end up this Christmas, the first year, that not only you end up in debt, you're not in debt, you have a surplus, you have a better Christmas, and you've made stuff, and you've all made stuff, and you've made the relationships all the more richer by you being authentic to yourself and you being honest with where it is that you're at. How cool is that?
Oh, so cool. And when it comes to food, we always say, oh, we can taste the love. Someone's put love into that food and we can taste it. It's the same thing if you write a poem. It's the same thing if you paint or draw something. It's the same thing if you make something. Whatever your talent is, you can use that and you can give that to someone that you love. And I think that's just really, really important. I'm actually sitting here thinking, oh, what can I do? I can't sing, so I won't be doing that. But there are other things that I can do.
So many things. Imagine you're technical and you know somebody in the family is quite remote or whatever. You might set them up on Skype, give them this and that, help them sort all sorts of stuff out. You might just spend a few hours with them, helping them with something that's going to be really useful. You might be really good at sorting things out. You can tidy up somebody's house. Give them whatever it is that is your gift. Maybe you've been really into interior design. You've never had a chance to do it. You go and sort somebody's house out or whatever. You're a good painter. You paint that person's house who could never afford it. It cost them so much money. There's so many different things that you can do if you just begin to give it a little bit of thought.
So we're going to go to I Want to Know What Love Is by the New Jersey Mass Choir, because that's what it's about. It's about giving love. So let's remind ourselves about what love is.
Colourful Radio.
So that was I Want to Know What Love Is by the New Jersey Mass Choir. And within that song, they say, I want to know what love is. I want to feel what love is, and I want you to show me. And with Rasheed's idea that you can give your gift as a gift, then they'll exactly know what love is, right?
And it's very powerful. I was just thinking about that. I want to know what love is. I think there's a side in which, isn't it, in life, in the society we live in now, that's very apt, because I think that sometimes we've forgotten what it is, and this is what your show is all about, that self-love. Actually, do I appreciate myself? Am I thankful for myself? Am I thankful for the basics that I have? And I think that sometimes if we're having this kind of stripped down Christmas, which we're kind of pointing toward, then you really will know what love is. You really, because then all the trappings aren't there, so it's got to come from the heart. So that's the magical thing about this. So it is, and this time of year, whatever it is for you, whether it's a religious time, whether it's a time of celebration, whether it's a quiet time and so on, it is about that connectivity. It is about that time of real appreciation for yourself, for family, for loved ones, for time out, and so on. So just being grateful for everything that you have, for everything that you have, a roof over your head, a job, or whatever. Even if you don't like, you've got something. Being grateful for those things that you've got, and so on. Because it also is a time where lots of people do lose people. It's a cold time of the year. The instances, the number of people lose. It's the end of their life and so on. So we've got to be so grateful for it. If we take about a calendar year, we've all got a finite period of time. So being grateful and being really thankful. And also I think the other thing is try and give something that's really meaningful for that person. What is it that really would connect with them at their heart? And I was just reflecting back on the things that have probably been most meaningful for me. Reflecting was probably the family times, and some, and not expensive gifts necessarily, but things that were just really lovely that you could love. And that's the thing about a kid; it might just love as a baby will love a gold piece of paper as much as it might a gold watch. So do you know what I mean? The meaning of it. It's about the meaning and the connection to it. I love that thing you're going to share about the person who said just tweeted and they said what they were going to do. I love that.
So Seg Dan says, that's a great idea. Use your gifts rather than buy gifts. I will write a poem to my girl for Christmas. He then goes on to say, let me see if I can get away with writing songs as Christmas gifts for my nieces. So that will be really interesting. I just tweeted back to say, yeah, I'll be interested to know. I'm sure they will appreciate it. He's actually gone, laughing out loud. I can't wait to see the look of my older nieces. The look on their faces. So that'd be very, very interesting. Lovely. So yeah, please let us know how that went down after Christmas. I'm very intrigued to know. And yeah, this time, as you said, it is more than just about presents. It's about your appreciation. It's about appreciating that you've got a roof over your head. You're in the warmth. You've got family and friends around you. You've got food on the table. It's so much more than just going out and buying and spending. And I think it's really important, especially at this time, as people are gearing up to buying Christmas presents, that we actually talk about this.
Hugely. And I was just thinking about that person, that the poem and song they can write and the things for their nieces. I was just thinking, how cool is that? You could do some music and set it to pictures of them throughout their life. You've then given something a keepsake that's going to be meaningful for them for their entire life. So a little bit of thought about this is really, really, really powerful. It's really powerful because it makes us reconnect to what is the purpose of this time of the year? What is the purpose of the people in our lives? What's the purpose of... for me, you see, the thing I was really excited about this week is, for me, the most powerful thing isn't the giving, but it's the first phrase. It's the thanks. Because gratitude is the thing, more than anything else, that will make you feel nourished in life. It is a well that will never be empty. I guarantee, if you really embrace gratitude, if you're just grateful for being alive, I guarantee that's the one well that will never run dry. You'll always feel in a place of plenty. That's the funny thing you see about gratitude, being grateful and being very thankful. People are grateful and thankful. There's a non-ending well, and you'll meet lots of people and they've got next to nothing, but they're so giving of spirit.
Yeah, like when... there's, when you see a documentary in maybe another part of the country or the world, should I say, and they don't seem to have much, but they have everything. I was actually watching last night, actually. I cannot remember what it's called, and I don't really want to name it. But it's a cooking show. But this man travels to countries around the world, and he experiences how other cultures eat together, etc. And for the life of me, I cannot remember the country he was in. Sri Lanka. He was in Sri Lanka. And they all have really tight culture. So it's about maybe 30 of them in the community, and they all eat together at the same time every day. But everyone has their own, everyone does a different job in the creation of making this meal. So one person might be chopping the onions, the other person might be grinding down the spices, and it's amazing. And then they all just sit and eat together, and it's something that we don't always do here.
So powerful.
Not as a community. We might do it within our own families.
Yeah.
Well, even then that may not occur.
Yeah.
But there's just this simple power of just sitting there and eating the food that has literally come from the ground.
It's amazing. And as you were saying that, I was just thinking about, I actually love the foods that you eat with your hands. Without the cutlery,
and they actually eat with their hands as well in banana leaves.
I just love that. I just think it's just so amazing.
It's the connection, right? The connection from just and feeling it, appreciating it. Part of mindfulness, they always say, really take time to taste your food. Eat the food slowly, experience and gather what it feels like in your mouth. That's the same thing with your hands.
And you know what? I was thinking also, I love some of the very inexpensive foods. I love at this time of year soups and so on. So those things, like soups, bread, some of those things, and soups, breads, potato, those really simple foodstuffs actually that often when people don't have money, they have. But they're so filling, they're so heartwarming. There are other things you could have really expensive things that aren't necessarily going to do the same thing. So sometimes it's when you strip it back to its simplicity where the magic really is. And if you carry that off with love, people will be so grateful.
Now, before I let you go, I just want to just say that the next track we're going to play is Icebox by Omarion. And before we go to that track and end this segment with you, I want to just speak more about this because, we're talking about what love is, and his song is called Icebox. And maybe, things may have happened. Your heart may have become cold, and it's about warming it up again. And that's not to say that you're a Scrooge. So, your heart's cold and, and that means you're a Scrooge, and that means, you don't spend money on people. That's not what we're saying here. It's like, well, in what you said, Rasheed, which is use your gift as a gift, then maybe you need to warm up that heart of yours. Really think about what it is that you love. Get that blood pumping. Start really thinking about what would you like to give someone with that meaning. Would you agree, Rasheed?
I would so agree with that. And I love that story, A Christmas Carol is one of the best stories, because I think there's a bit of that Scrooge in everyone, but where that loving heart is and the playfulness. And actually when the heart melts, then it's fantastic, isn't it? And how joyful that is. So I think that in some way, if you can melt your own heart reconnect with your own heart. It's just so magical, you know, because again, love is the only thing that's going to serve you in every single situation.
And again, just to go back to the money advice survey, where they said 1.4 million people are expected to use payday loans to help them pay for Christmas. Again, if you do not have money to pay for something, that doesn't make you a Scrooge. It just makes you someone who is aware that financially they can't spend as much as they would like to spend. So again, it's tapping back into what you can give. You are not a Scrooge. Spend within your means only and get creative.
Yeah, I know. And a quick challenge, If you're in that situation, share with the people that you love what you're going to buy for your kids. This is a situation, and I was going to do this, or we could just have thingy. Put that to them. I bet you they say, don't thingy, let's just have a quiet Christmas. And I bet you it will make the relationship 10 times stronger. That's my challenge to you.
And take the pressure off. Sometimes, you know, people, I don't know if people don't express that enough. Look, this is the situation. Do you mind if I only do this? Or can I give you this instead? Or can I make you a dish instead? I don't know if people
The communication is key at this time of the year, the communication. And I'm sure we'll come back to that, you know, that thing about communication as we talk nearer Christmas about communication, relationships and so on. It's key, you know. Share.
And that is actually the next show next week. So well done, Rasheed.
Well,
it's going to be self-acceptance and relationships.
Brilliant.
So that is about communication as well over Christmas. So again, thank you, Rasheed. You are always fabulous.
My pleasure.
Always fabulous. And I will see you at the same time, the same place next week. Everyone else at home, I will see you at the top of the hour after the news. And as promised, I'm going to leave you with Icebox by Omarion. Again, think about what the words are saying in the context of today's show, which is self-awareness and giving. This does not mean you're a Scrooge. We're asking you to warm up your heart, tap into yourself again, and find out what gift you can give for Christmas.